Raising awareness of the issue of sexual exploitation is a wonderful thing. However, action that not only gets women out of sex work, but transforms them financially, psychologically, and emotionally into solid business service providers is much better. We welcome Michael Podolny from Theodora Africa to tell us about their work in this area. And I know you are going to be joined by Justina and Mary. I'll let you do those introductions.
Great, thank you very much. And let's see, have we enabled multiple sharing? Yes, we have.
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, I want to say some thank yous. I have a number of guests, people who've been supporters. Gary King and Rafi Andonian, Rotarians, have seen this thing from the start. Albert Agbeminu, who is on the board of our sister NGO in Ghana, has seen this grow from the beginning. Mr. Steve Henderson is a huge supporter in many, many ways of our efforts. So I want to thank them all for getting up, coming out. So yes, rather than me talk, I would much rather you hear from our participants, Justina Ansah and Mary Fiadesi, two of our participants. So this is actually, we've done a lot of practice presentations. This is our first real live one. So hopefully it goes okay. And what I'd like you to do also is to just take a step back and let your mind be open, because what I found, really briefly, I never intended to do this. This was not on my life's list to be involved in Ghana, working with women, helping them to recreate, transform their life. It's just something that sort of happened in the last couple of years. So I knew nothing about this particular space. And as I got to know it, I realized that things are more subtle and more complicated sometimes than we think. And we often have blinders on ourselves. We think in certain patterns. So as you listen to our women's story, take off the blinders, okay, take off the filters and understand there's subtle and there's differences and things that are important to hear. All right. So Justina, I'm gonna get us ready to start here.
Okay. Hi everyone, once again I'm Justina Ansah, and today we're going to be talking about Theodora with my colleague Mary Federson. Before we start, I want to tell you more about Theodora. Theodora is all about helping millions of women turn from sex industry. Women like me. Before Theodora, I was scared of trying new things. I lacked a lot of confidence. I wasn't even proud of myself, but after meeting Michael, I transformed. Now I could do a lot of things which I didn't have confidence to do at first. So Theodora is a transforming project, and I hope you guys will love it. Next, please. Why we are here? We're here to talk about our transformation. At Theodora Africa, we train former sex workers to support US companies with administrative and marketing tasks. They don't just get training, they get high-paying jobs, eventually ownership as a virtual assistant cooperative. That's Theodora. And I'm proud to tell you that these ladies have transformed, and now they can do what they never thought they could do. I've thrown a big number just here. How big is the problem? Do you know 28 small businesses in the United States? That's a population of Texas. A lot of people like those 28 businesses need administrative and managing tasks, and Theodora is here for them. Next slide, please. Three out of them have no employees. That's a lot of people. So you can imagine a lot of people out there need help. And Theodora is here to help them too. Next slide, please. On the other side of the equation, it's difficult to quantify how many women are trapped in sex work globally. In Ghana alone, there's an estimate 80,000 women trapped in an economy where often the only job available for women is sex trade, not for lack of ambition or intelligence, but simply for not winning the bed lottery. Next slide, please. easy to get lasting figures. Let me bring it down to one, a total of two. I'd like my colleague Mary to tell you more about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Justina. So let me simplify this. Next slide, please. So this is Tom, one of clients of Theodora Ghana. He's a solopreneur in the United States. I remember very well our first meeting with Tom. He was so frustrated about the things he was not getting the time to do. Those marketing support and the administrative tasks, following up with his leads were very important for him, but he was overwhelmed and struggled with managing his time. I felt his pain, knowing how that could massively grow his economy. Next slide, please. And this is Ohima. Ohima is representing the participants of Theodora. So as you saw in the video, many of us, we moved to the city of Accra because death of our parents or maltreatment from family members and so on. As ambitious as we are, we have to strive to survive in the city because lack of jobs and shelter to keep you safe. Next slide, please. So there are no jobs in the city. The few ones that are available are very hard to get in. Those who even have jobs, they get laid off during change of government. Yeah, that sounds strange, but it happens here in Ghana. When you walk in to find a job, whether you qualify for the job or not, the person hiring you will ask you, you have to offer him sex before you get a job. And if you give him the sex, you don't get a job. If you don't give it to, you don't get a job. So as you sit down, you ask yourself, how many sex will you offer in the name of searching for a job? Then when you meet a friend one day who will tell you, hey, I get paid for offering sex, you can get paid too. And when you think about why you came to the city, you have to survive. You need shelter, you need to feed yourself. There is nobody there for you. So you accept it and you join in the sex work. By the time you realize you are trapped into sex work. Next slide, please. So as Theodora came, thought, how can we help close this gap? Could we train Ohima to assist Tom with his administrative task? And would that give Tom peace of mind and help him focus more on the important things to grow his business? Maybe that will even in turn give Ohima the knowledge and the confidence she deserves to be an entrepreneur. Yes, Theodora saw that that is something that can be done. So I would let my colleague Justina explain how it all went. Next slide, please. Justina, will you tell everybody how everything went by?
Thank you, Mary. It all started in a short time and everything just changed, but helping Ohima means helping me. Helping Ohima means helping others like me. When we heard about Theodora Africa at first, we thought, who are these old white folks? Our project was to transcribe for small businesses to help them promote their businesses during COVID. None of us even knew what transcribing meant. We didn't even know what transcribing, how to even go about it. We're terrified. I was terrified. But we received training, not just in computer skills, but in English, business management, and counseling. Those small businesses had no idea to accept us, our work, because it wasn't good enough. But with time, we became better and they were satisfied. We too began to realize that we can do this. In the beginning, it was rough for everyone because it was something new which we haven't tried. But tasks that were taking the ladies 2 hours, 3 hours to 10 hours, now the ladies work on it 30 minutes, 10 minutes to 20 minutes. And it's amazing because that's our personal transformation. But Tom was transformed as well. Sitting down with Ohima, mapping out the tasks together on how he could get his referrals and how Ohima could process it. That was a great transformation that Tom never believed could happen. I'd like my colleague Mary tell you more about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Justina. So yes, as Ohima and Tom got together, they had a meeting. Tom talked a lot about how they can help, how he gets his leads. So with the help of and the training Ohima has gotten, he created a spreadsheet, created a form, a way in which Ohima is going to be reminding Tom to follow up on his leads. Ohima was Tom's personal accountability partner who helped Tom to follow up on all the leads and make sure that he does what he's supposed to do. At the end of the year, Tom had his best quarter of sales ever. He was so pleased and surprised at the end of the day. And because of that, he has even started with the marketing support. We are creating newsletters for him. And that is something he never thought he could do. Next slide, please. So yes, as you've heard all this story, we ask you to think about this. Just think about it for a moment. All of you are asked for money all the time. And yes, you can't possibly help everyone. But what if I tell you, by helping yourself, you had the same benefit, a good feeling of helping somebody else? Yes, that's Theodora Project. When you or somebody you know hires Theodora, you are improving yourself and you give a great opportunity to others as well. Thank you, and Michael is going to take it from here.
Well, I don't think I can add much more than what Mary has said in terms of what this particular value proposition is, that by helping yourself, if you are a solopreneur, if you are an independent business person, you get the same benefit as if you were donating money. And that's hard to find in this world. And just there is incredible opportunities for this particular program in terms of helping disadvantaged women, giving them real jobs that are bringing a serious income, and helping our own small business. It creates export income for Ghana and for any other African company we start this with, and it has a very low cost of investment, and we expect to be self-funding in the not too distant future. Thank you, and I'll open it up for questions. By the way, that's our website there, theodoraafrica.com, where if you're interested in having a conversation about who could help you or even donating money, because we are still in our sort of ramp up launch phase.
What we're talking about, you know, we're having to start organizing all sorts of things and looking at the slave trade and sex slavery, compiling lists of people, and we're just talking offline here. Well, you know, maybe what a beautiful thing if we could integrate your guy, what you're doing with compiling lists and helping get the whole movement going, even in Thailand.
Sure. I mean, just so you know, our goal is so we have Theodora Africa, which is an umbrella organization, and it really isn't an organization. As you know, Kevin, we have to have a 501c3 not-for-profit corporation in the United States. It has to be married up with a Ghanaian NGO. That's the one that Albert is on the board of. And so, you know, we funnel that, but ultimately our goal is for Theodora Africa, which you can consider to be, let's say, a subsidiary, to be spun off as a participant-owned business. So our hope is within about 12 months or so to actually have spun that off into a for-profit business that is just doing virtual assistant work in the United States. So yeah, we're happy to share whatever knowledge and understanding that we've been able to pick up, but I will caution you, we're less than a year old. So we're sort of, I've given the analogy to the women that we sort of jumped off the coast of Africa with a high powered engine. And then we sort of figured like, maybe we need a boat around this. So we're kind of figuring this out as we go.
I got something I want to add really quick, but based on what Michael just said. I think one of the keys to Theodora that really is powerful to me is that the fact that that transition that Michael just described, the fact that the folks we're working with are the people that are ultimately going to own this project. And I think that's really valuable because there are very few programs that I know of that the people that they're serving are the people who ultimately become the owners of the project. And that ownership to me is critical. And Michael's professional background has been in business succession planning, and it has come in incredibly helpful with his insights and his skills in this particular project. And so what I want us to remember that really, in my mind, helps distinguish this project is it's not just the work that it does and the economic benefit on both sides while the business is being done, but the ultimate ownership by the ladies themselves.
You know, I want to point out something else because I had mentioned about not having filters when we listen. As I think Justine and Mary very eloquently said, the situation you find in Africa, and I assume in talking with Jerry Nelson, I says, you know, I think this is true in Asia as well. There is this world of trafficking where people are literally captured and enslaved. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about women who are, let's think of it as a funnel, are kind of forced in a situation that they don't want to be because there's a lack of jobs, there's misogynist cultures that force things to happen. And these people are independent and given an opportunity, all right, they will make the change. It's about, though, taking action to give them the opportunity. And an awful lot of what I've heard as I've been going up the growth curve is that, you know, people are frustrated at what action can we take? How do we change things? You know, if we take the number that Justina gave out, 80,000 sex workers in Ghana, and if you use the that percentage for Africa, that would mean there's something like around 2.4 million women in Africa who are not trafficked, but who are caught in doing sex work because they don't have another alternative. That's a lot of people. And literally, as Mary said, all it takes is if somebody has a, let's say, like we're working with a small NGO in New Mexico that helps women in Nepal, you know, who are lacking in women's sanitary products. They don't have overhead. They don't have anybody to help them. So we're providing the administrative task. In so doing, they're helping these people in Africa. It's a win-win situation.
I want to remind us what Rotary is about. If you look up the 4 objects of Rotary, 3 of the 4 objects mention something about different versions of using the ideals of Rotary in business. One of them, for example, talks about international goodwill in context of business, and of course other contexts as well, but business is one of the words that's in there in 3 of the 4 objects. And if you think about the roots of Rotary, it is a group of business people who come together to achieve good in their lives, in the community, and business is one of the vehicles through which they do that. And so to me, this combination of social good and business that this organization accomplishes fits Rotary so incredibly well because it's international, it's service, and it's a way of doing business that advances everyone involved. And that captures to me so much of Rotary, even from a century ago. And now, as we know, corporate social responsibility is sort of has gotten a revival, if you will, has really been the current thing that thinking in business models moving forward. And this fits that and Rotary so well. And again, I go back to all the components that are connected to this. And that's why, to me, the business part is so important as well, because that's what allows the ultimate ownership by the ladies themselves, as opposed to simply working within it. And that's what allows for economic development to occur, to provide these opportunities in a way that's in line with the values that we're all trying to uphold.
Thanks, Rafi. And I think to build on that, the other, when we look at Rotary and the kind of the global footprint, one of the key cornerstones, it's not part of the objectives, but key cornerstone is to create sustainable initiatives. And so being able to support and sponsor something that clearly something like this is not only sustainable, but great self-perpetuation. So Michael, I love the business model that you have. Any other questions?
Yes, I wanted to first of all say thank you to Michael and the ladies. And Rafi, as far as what you just said, I kept hearing value and worth, which is what these women need, and children or whoever has been trafficked or doing sex in exchange for. We have a speakers panel, and we're new also. To my place, but we have a speakers panel, and when we send out what we're calling the overcomers to speak, and a couple of months ago, I guess, David Cochran and I showed the video of one of the ladies that we have. She is on our board. We have brought her, and there are a couple of them now, but we have them on the board as either advisors or a board member, because that's the follow through with feeling your value and feeling your worth. And I think it's really important, not just to give them the training, of course, but to offer them a place in something where they know their opinions, their feelings, their input is going to be able to make a change. So that's just something that we're starting to do, and invite them on as advisors to the board. One of the companies that we just received a small grant from, but thank God a grant, as one of the asks that we had, they have agreed to offer employment. It's a very large company, to overcomers. They want to know where these women are and offer some. It's UPS. Okay? So they're all over the world, and they will start an employment service specifically to place women who have become overcomers.
That's great.
You know, speaking of that, I don't know if any of you would like to ask any questions of Justina and Mary. I think that's, you know, if you want to really refer, you know, talk about what the experience is. They're the ones that we have them here. Well, they're club members now, so you'll have it here often. You know, about, you know, what this has really meant to them and what this is all about, where you know, what they've gone through, et cetera.
Just because I'm curious, are pimps involved in the sex trade?
Mary, Justina, you want to field that, please?
Well, in our situation, we were independent, so you find for yourself.
So Jerry did raise his hand as well, so we'll go to Jerry. Do you have a question, Jerry?
Yes, Mary, Justina, I would like to know at this point in time, how many ladies are working in the project?
We are 6 in numbers.
A third of their company, their organization, are members of our club. How about that?